Welcome back, everyone, for another deep dive. We hear you're already familiar with those relational databases, and now you're ready to step up your data game even further, right? Especially when it comes to making sure your data is really top-notch. So today we're going to dive deep into the world of data stewardship.
Yeah, we're talking about the tools and the technologies that help you keep all that data squeaky clean, organized, so you can be confident in all the decisions you're making with it.
You can think of it this way, your data like a super valuable spice, right? I mean, it has the potential to just add amazing flavor, but only if it's stored correctly. You got to take care of it. Otherwise, it'll lose its potency. You could even spoil the whole dish.
That's a great analogy. And in the data world, those storage containers, those are the tools and technologies we're going to be talking about for data stewardship.
Okay, so let's talk tools. What are the absolute must-haves for someone who's serious about data stewardship? What should be in their data pantry, so to speak?
Well, I'd say the core trio is metadata repositories, business glossaries, and data profiling tools. Those are the essential spices. You always need those on hand.
A powerful trio. I got to admit, though, those names sound a little intimidating. Can you break them down for us?
Absolutely. Let's start with metadata repositories. Imagine them like the labels on your spice jars. They tell you everything you need to know about your data, what it is, where it came from, how it's connected to other data. It's like having that super detailed ingredient list for your entire data landscape.
So it's all about having that clear documentation, right? Mm-hmm. So you don't accidentally use turmeric when what you really wanted was saffron.
Exactly. And that brings us to our next essential tool, the business glossary. Think of this one as your master spice guide. It defines all your key terms in a really consistent way. So everyone in your organization, they're all speaking the same language. No more confusing cumin with coriander.
So it's about making sure everyone understands the recipe and is using the same measurements. That makes a lot of sense. Now, what about that third tool in our trio, that data profiling tool? What role does that play in our data kitchen?
That's your taste tester. Data profiling tools help you analyze the quality of your data, identify any inconsistencies or errors. They basically make sure your data is, fresh and ready to be used. It's like having a super, super sensitive palate that can detect even the slightest hint of spoilage.
So they help us avoid serving up a dish that's gone bad. It sounds like these three tools, metadata repositories, business glossaries, and data profiling tools, they really form the foundation for good data stewardship.
They absolutely do. They provide the structure, the definitions, and those quality checks that you need to manage your data effectively.
But how do they actually support data governance efforts? I mean, is it just about having everything documented?
It's more than just documentation. You can think of these tools like the ingredients that allow you to create a really delicious and consistent dish. By setting clear standards, you can make sure that everybody's following the recipe, which leads to better overall data quality and governance.
So it's about enabling proactive data management rather than just reacting to problems after they've already popped up.
Precisely. By defining those data standards up front, you're setting the stage for consistent, reliable data that everyone can trust. And that trust is absolutely crucial for effective data governance.
I see. So these tools help establish that foundation of trust, which is so important for everyone to buy into the whole data governance idea.
Exactly. When people trust the data, they're more likely to use it. And they'll care about its quality. That's how you create a truly data-driven culture.
Makes a lot of sense. But there are so many tools out there. It's like walking into a massive spice market. How do you even know which ones to choose?
That's a great point. I mean, choosing the right tools, it can feel overwhelming. But just like choosing the right spices, it comes down to understanding what you want to achieve with your data.
So if you're making a curry, you'd choose different spices than if you were, baking a cake.
Exactly. You need to consider your specific needs, your existing systems, and your long-term goals.
Okay, so let's unpack that a bit. What are the key considerations when you're picking the right data stewardship tools?
Well, first and foremost, you need to understand your data landscape. What kind of data are you dealing with? What are those pain points? Different tools, they specialize in different areas, so you want to choose tools that address your specific challenges.
So it's about finding the right tools for the job, just like you wouldn't use a cleaver to peel a potato.
Exactly. You also need to think about ease of use and integration. A tool that's difficult to use or doesn't integrate well, it will just quickly become what we call shelfware, like that spice that you bought once but you never use because it's just too complicated.
And nobody wants a pantry full of unused spices. So it's about finding tools that your team will actually use and that fit seamlessly into your existing workflow. What else should we be thinking about?
Think long-term. Data governance, it's a journey, not a destination. Choose tools that can adapt and scale as your needs evolve and your data landscape changes.
That's a great point. You don't want to be stuck with a tool that can't handle your future data needs. Like, a spice grinder that can only handle small batches, when what you really want to do is make a feast.
Precisely. Data stewardship is all about setting yourself up for success, in the long run.
This has been incredibly insightful. I mean, we've covered the essential tools for data stewardship, those metadata repositories, the business glossaries, and those data profiling tools. And we've talked about how they support data governance efforts, and we've even touched on some key considerations when selecting these tools.
It's been a pleasure sharing these insights. Remember, data stewardship is a journey, but with the right tools and a commitment to data quality, you can truly unlock the power of your data. Building on that data journey idea, choosing those tools, that's just the first step. It's like having all the right spices, but then you still need someone who knows how to blend them all together, right? To make something amazing.
So it's not enough to just have the tools. You need the right people using them, to use them well.
Exactly. And that's where data stewards come in. Those are the folks responsible for, making sure the quality, consistency, and security of all your data. They're like those master chefs in our little data kitchen metaphor.
I am starting to get a little hungry with all this food talk. But tell me more about these data stewards. Are there different types? Do they all wear those tall white hats?
Well, not sure about the hats, but yeah, there are definitely different types of data stewards, each with their own area of expertise. So you have your business data stewards who really, really understand the business context of the data.
So they know how the data is used, day to day. What it means for decision-making, all that.
Precisely. They're responsible for defining all those business terms in the glossary, setting up data quality rules, making sure the data is being used correctly. Then you have your technical data stewards. They're more focused on the technical side of managing all that data.
So they're the ones that actually implement those rules and definitions within the systems, making sure everything's working smoothly from a technical standpoint.
Exactly. They're responsible for things like data lineage, data integration, and ensuring that data quality is being maintained throughout the entire technical process.
Sounds like those two types of data stewards, they really got to work closely together, kind of like a culinary duo.
Absolutely. You can't have one without the other. It's that collaboration between, the business and the technical expertise that makes data stewardship truly effective.
This is making me think about that whole concept of data quality. We've mentioned it a few times, but how do you even define that? Is there some universal standard, or does it totally depend on the context?
That's a great question. And honestly, it's something that trips a lot of people up. Data quality. It's not about achieving this absolute state of perfection. It's really about fitness for purpose.
So what's considered high-quality data for one purpose might not be good enough for something else.
Exactly. If you're using data for regulatory reporting, well then yeah, accuracy and completeness are super, super critical. But if you're using that same data for trend analysis, maybe timeliness and consistency are way more important.
That makes perfect sense. So how do you figure out what those the right data quality standards are for a specific use case? Is there a secret formula?
No secret formula.
Wow.
But the key is collaboration. You got to have the business data stewards and the people actually using the data working together to define what, good looks like in that specific situation.
So it's like a team effort to figure out what level of quality is needed and then how you're even going to measure it.
Precisely. And it's an ongoing thing, a process of understanding the requirements, evaluating the data, and then refining those standards as you go.
All right. So we've talked about the what and the why of data stewardship. Now let's get into the how. How do you actually put these practices into action? Within an organization, where do you even begin?
Yeah, implementing data stewardship can seem really daunting, especially for larger organizations, but it doesn't have to be overwhelming. A good approach is to start with, a clear roadmap and a phased implementation plan.
So break it down into smaller steps. What might those steps look like?
First, you need to assess your current state. Get a good understanding of your data landscape. Identify your most important, data assets. Evaluate your existing data management practices.
So kind of take stock of what you have, where it is, how it's currently being handled.
Exactly. Then you define your data governance framework. This includes, setting up roles and responsibilities, data policies and standards, outlining those processes for data stewardship.
So you're basically creating the blueprint for how data is going to be governed and managed across the whole organization.
Yeah, you're laying the foundation for success. Once you have that framework, you can start implementing the tools, the technologies we discussed earlier.
Right, the metadata repositories, those business glossaries, the data profiling tools, and any other systems you might need to support all those data stewardship efforts.
Precisely. And as you start using these tools, implementing your framework, you got to focus on building a data-driven culture.
What does that involve? Is it just about training people on the new tools, the new processes?
It's more than just training. It's communication, awareness building. You got to really emphasize the value of data quality to everyone in the organization.
So getting people excited about data, making them see it as this valuable asset rather than, just a bunch of numbers and spreadsheets.
Exactly. Data stewardship, it's a journey, not a destination. It requires ongoing effort and a commitment to continuous improvement.
This is giving me a lot to think about. It sounds like data stewardship, it isn't just a technical thing. It's like a cultural shift.
Yeah.
It requires buy-in from everyone involved.
You're absolutely right. It's about changing the way people think about and interact with data. That's where the real power is.
Okay, so we've talked about the importance of a data-driven culture, and we've kind of walked through the steps of implementing those data stewardship practices. What else is essential for success on this data journey?
We've talked about tools, processes, people, but what about security? How does data stewardship play a role in keeping our valuable data safe and sound?
That's a great point. We can't just leave that out. It's like, okay, we have this incredible spice blend, but then we just leave it out in the open where anyone can, mess with it.
Yeah, that's a crucial point. Data stewardship is essential for setting those ground rules and making sure everyone sticks to them. Those business data stewards we talked about, they're the ones figuring out how sensitive different types of data are and who should be able to access it.
So they're kind of like the gatekeepers,
Yeah.
making sure only the authorized personnel are allowed into the spice room.
Exactly. They work hand in hand with those IT security teams to put the right technical controls in place, making sure that the data is protected throughout, its entire life cycle. It's a team effort to safeguard those precious data assets.
That makes me feel a lot better. It's good to know that data stewardship takes this kind of well-rounded approach, addressing quality, security, and compliance. Now, before we wrap things up, I want to touch on something we mentioned earlier, that metadata management.
Good point. We talked about those repositories, but there's a lot more to metadata management than just, having a place to store everything. Metadata, that's information about the data itself. It's like having all these detailed notes on where each spice came from, what it tastes like, the best way to use it.
So it's like building this comprehensive data dictionary that everyone can refer to, so everybody's on the same page and understand all the little details of each data asset.
Precisely. Data stewards play a key role here. They define, document, and maintain all that metadata, making sure it's accurate, up to date, easy to find.
Sounds like having a really well-managed metadata system, that's just crucial for making the most of data stewardship. It's about providing the clarity, the context that everyone needs to really use the data effectively.
Couldn't agree more. It's like having a master spice guide that not only tells you what each spice is, but also how to blend those spices together, to create something spectacular. Now, you're probably wondering, how do we know if all these efforts are actually working?
That's a great question. How do we measure the effectiveness of a data stewardship program? What does a successful data-driven culture actually look like in practice?
We can't just rely on toast tests, though those are definitely important. We need concrete ways to measure the impact, and that's where the metrics come in.
So we're not just seeing if the data tastes good, we're also measuring its impact on the whole business.
You got it. We usually look at two main types of metrics: business results and operational metrics, kind of like evaluating both the flavor and how efficient our kitchen is running.
I like that. So tell me more about these metrics. What are some examples?
Okay, so those business result metrics, they're all about those tangible outcomes. Are we seeing improvements in decision-making? Are we seeing an increase in revenue? A decrease in costs? These are the big indicators that data stewardship is actually adding real value to the organization.
So we can prove that all our efforts are making a real difference.
Absolutely. Now, for the operational metrics, those focus on the efficiency and effectiveness of our data stewardship processes. Are we quickly identifying and resolving any of those data quality issues? Are people actually engaging in data governance? These metrics, they help us fine-tune our operations, make sure we're running a really tight ship in our data kitchen.
Sounds like a balanced approach. We're measuring both the impact and the efficiency of the data stewardship program. Now, before we let our listeners go, any final words of wisdom for those just starting out on their own data stewardship journey?
Remember, this is a journey, not a sprint, right? Start small, focus on the value to the business, and really foster that culture of collaboration. It's like any good recipe: patience, teamwork, and a commitment to quality. Those are the keys to success.
Great advice. This has been such an insightful deep dive into the world of data stewardship. We covered the must-have tools, the roles of those data stewards, the importance of data quality and security, even how to measure if we're actually succeeding.
It's been my pleasure sharing these insights. And remember, folks, data is a truly valuable asset. With the right approach to stewardship, you can really unleash its full potential.
Well said. And for our listeners, if you're hungry for more insights on data management and governance, be sure to like, share, and subscribe to The Deep Dive. We'll be back soon with more delicious explorations into the world of data.